of a meeting that began on November 14th, and this is a special meeting to consider evaluations for the employees that are employed by the board. And there are 6 of them we're evaluating this year. We've completed 4 of the evaluations in executive session, and then we'll go, we are now in open session. We're going to stay in open session now. So the first one up is, Michael?
Graham Botha.
Graham Botha. Okay.
GPA Legal Counsel.
GPA Legal Counsel, Graham Botha. And the cumulative number, what did we give him as a score?
The total evaluated score for
is
Graham was a 3.6.
3.6. And for the record, Graham Botha has been working for us since September 29, 2004.
And Mr. Chair, can I just go over the rating scale?
Sure.
Okay, thank you. So
I'm sorry.
A rating scale, the rating scale for the evaluations are scored from a highest rating scale of 5 to a lowest rating scale of 1. A rating scale of 5 is described as performance significantly exceeds expectation in all essential areas of responsibility, an outstanding result qualified by an exceptional or unique contribution in support of the section, department, or division, or the successful completion of a major goal or project. The rating is achievable by an employee, although given infrequently. A rating of 5 requires qualification. A rating score of 4 is exceeds expectations, above satisfactory, and this is defined as an above standard performance with results exceeding expectations in all essential areas of responsibility. A rating scale of 3 or score of 3 is described as meets expectations or satisfactory. Performance consistently meets expectations in all essential areas of responsibility. A rating score of 2 is inconsistently meets expectations or marginal. Performance inconsistently meets expectations in one or more essential areas of responsibility. A less than satisfactory result requiring improvements to come up to standards. And a rating score of 1 is described as fails to meet expectations, unsatisfactory. Performance consistently below expectations. Significant improvement is needed in one or more essential area. Results may also demonstrate counterproductive behaviors that have negative outcomes or consequences. A plan to correct performance, including timelines, must be developed and monitored to improve and measure progress. A rating 1 requires qualification. So Graham Botha's cumulative score is a 3.6, which is above satisfactory, above meets expectations, basically right in between a meets expectations and exceeds expectations, which we would classify as, exceeds expectations.
Okay. And now he's, as I said earlier, he's been with us since September 29, 2004. And the last time he had a pay adjustment was it was 2016, and the pay adjustment he got was a $5,000 increase. Or,
135.
it was to 135.
From
Okay.
130, right?
Yeah.
That's 5,000,
5,000.
so that's
It's at 113.
4%.
Oh no, he was at 113, and we gave him 135.
Oh,
So-
wow. So he had a 22 over 113, wow.
Mr. Chair, do we know where, I know that the commission has attempted to reach certain penetration levels on
The percentile.
Yes.
percentile
And he is
penetration.
at
Do we-
he is currently at, that's why I have the HR people here,
So he is currently between the 30th and the
the
35th
percentile,
percentile of the 2017 market data.
And where's the company overall?
20th
So he's
percentile.
at 30 to 35.
Yeah.
And he got a $22,000 raise 6
In
years ago? Oh,
6 years ago.
ago?
Yeah,
And that took him to 135?
yes.
Correct.
So that's about 22 over 105 is about a 20%.
Right. And
That's
he,
what he's currently at.
And he hasn't had a pay raise since
So
then.
he hasn't had a pay raise in, this would be
2016.
6 years.
6 years.
Going on 7 when we get to
Yeah.
10. His last raise was in 2016, and it was a 20% pay raise.
Yeah.
Okay.
And by the way, what I have with you is what we give to our employees annually is 2%, 3%, or 4% increase. Okay? And so that's the range that is standard for our rank and file employees, including from our assistant general managers on down. Okay? Go ahead, Commissioner
Mr.
Sanchez.
Chairman, would it be appropriate, I'm just curious if I'm comparing attorneys to attorneys, to at least briefly glance at Teresa's rating and salary? If that-
Well, Teresa was-
If that helps the board, right? Just so I
Sure,
know.
no.
you know, Attorneys are at this level.
Okay,
and-
Teresa was hired fairly recently, so September 13 of 2021 is when we hired Teresa. And we hired her at what percentile, Gina?
I'm sorry, so September 2021?
September 13, 2021.
Okay.
Huh?
Go ahead.
Wait, I'm waiting for Gina.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Yeah.
Between the 45th and the 50th percentile? Okay.
How does that doesn't jive with the information we were just giving with Graham Botha, which was in the 35th or 40th?
Because the last time there was a pay adjustment was in 2015?
No, I just meant
2016.
the percentile.
Oh.
What's Graham's percentile again?
Graham's
30 to
percentile is
35.
30 to 35.
between 30 and 35.
And what did you say Teresa was in?
Teresa's between the 45th and 50th.
Okay.
So there's a lower salary and a higher penetration percentile? How does that?
Because the salary scales at Waterworks and the salary scale at GPA are different. They're based on, what it is the average? Explain, John, real
They
quick.
are based actually on the industry. They are kind of similar, but they vary.
And
It
so
looks
therefore,
like GWA or Waterworks attorneys industry-wide are paid at a lower rate than
yes,
our attorneys. That's
Right.
That was my quick and dirty of listening
yes,
to that.
yeah.
Because the salary is
In most of the classes of employment in GPA, their rates are higher. I don't know why, danger or whatever, but that's what we look at is what they were nationally. And that's how come it came out to be like that.
Okay, understood now.
Okay? So, now
And then,
going back, yes.
Mr. Chair, real quick, the salaries are funded through which rating structure within the utilities? Base rate?
The salaries for GPA are structured to the base rate.
Right.
That's how they're paid for.
Okay.
And there is sufficient funding to accommodate all salaries. If you look at the salary adjustments that I've outlined, which is normally what they give, they're very nominal, so they're,
Yeah, no, I
Yeah.
understand that. I guess
So-
I guess the point I'm trying to make is that the commission and the utility haven't raised the base rate in how many years?
since 2013.
There was a brief increase and then it dropped back down.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And,
I just think it's important for the ratepayers to understand that
Yes.
the funding source for any sort of salaries comes from the base rate, and the base rate hasn't changed
Yes.
or been
In almost 10
increased
years.
in almost 10 years. So.
And
And
this would,
we
no pay
really-
adjustment was going to affect the base rate.
yeah, we really have no, we're not looking at a base rate adjustment at this time.
Correct.
Yeah, okay?
Okay. So I just
Okay.
so Graham was September of '04.
Yeah.
Right? His rating was a 3.6, right? And his last pay adjustment was in 2016.
2016, so. And he was one of those that we gave a pay adjustment in 2018 before Michael and Pete were here, just you and I, Simon.
Right.
And, you know, they had to pay, they paid it back, everybody paid it back, so. They really didn't get a pay adjustment in 2018.
And that's a good question. Has that been completely paid back?
Yes.
Okay, for
Everyone-
all
of them.
employees.
For all
impacted.
employees affected. Right? Okay, so my thought is, you know, we have really good people. And I like the questions that were asked. They're very good, so that, and I think it's very important that our ratepayers understand that although these people do get rather large salaries, they're worth the salaries they get, okay? We have two very good organizations. I have to be very proud of our two organizations. We do planning. Commissioner Sanchez was here in 2008 when they started the integrated resource plan, and then I came in 2009. It's been updated regularly, and we have implemented our plans. We are putting our plans into place. Sometimes I think on the power side, people kind of trying to step in front of our way and frustrate us, but I think okay, so.
So which candidate do we want to look at first, Mr. Chairman?
We're looking at Graham Botha.
Okay.
Yeah.
So
So we're evaluating Graham's potential
Graham.
salary increase based on a 3.6
3.6.
rating, which is above expectations.
He's in the 30 to 35th percentile.
Yes.
When GPA is at the 25th.
The company as a whole,
Company-wide is the 25th.
is
so
at
he's
the
He's
20th.
above that. But
He's above that.
But he hasn't had a pay adjustment in 7 years.
Yeah,
6 years plus. Okay.
so what's
Our pleasure. Let's see. And both attorneys scored roughly the same, above a 3.6 or 3.66, so above a 3. Well above a 3.
Yeah.
Okay.
So, if market percentile would Graham fall under in these different scenarios, 2, 3, and
Okay.
4%?
He would go above
So-
the 30 to 35th, right?
So if we were to give it 2%, he would be at 137, and 137 based off the 2017 market data.
Yes.
137 would be between the 35th and 40th.
So he wouldn't change, he'd still be in that same band?
Correct.
And then at the
At
4%?
2%? Yeah, okay, and at 4%? Yeah.
139, he would still be within that.
He'd just be in the
No,
upper range?
no,
Yes.
140. I think you said 4%?
4%.
4%, yeah.
4% is 140.
40 would be between the 40th and the 45th,
Yeah.
within that range, that band. Based off the raw market data.
Of
the
2017. We haven't updated that market data either,
Yeah.
so. I mean,
And where are we on updating the market data? Do we have a study right now?
Yes, we are doing a study right now with our vendor. They are halfway done, so they're giving us at most an additional 3 months to get that study to us.
so within this fiscal year, we will update that market study for both, right, Zena? We'll update yours too, this fiscal year?
Yes.
Yes, okay. So,
Well, if we, 2% keeps him in the same, just slightly higher than his current percentile. 4% moves him to the 40th. So 3% is kind of right in the middle of that. It would reward him for his work because it's above the 3, right? And it keeps him within the 40 to 35 to 45 range because the rest of the company's only at 25.
20, yeah.
And to me, I agree with the chairman. At the management level, it's as much an art as it is a science. We could say, oh, if the rest of the company's at 25, no manager should be above 25. That's a way to look at it. But managers are also sort of the leaders of the team, and you want to make sure you're rewarding and attracting the leaders of the team. And I think we're going to find that all of our managers are above 25% level, and I've seen nothing in their performance to say we should be punitive and just say, well, because everyone else is at 25, we're going to make you go backwards, right? And so, I appreciate that the chairman's already run the 2, 3, and 4. So, at least for the sake of discussion, I'll propose a 3% pay increase for Mr.
Okay, 139,050, okay.
And that works out.
Is there a second?
Yeah, second.
Second, okay.
That works out, Mr. Chairman, 3% over 7 years is like a 0.5% an increase
Yeah.
per year.
Yeah.
I think the minimum wage has gone up more
Yes.
than that.
I think more than importantly, it's an indication to our employee that we value them.
We value.
You know.
The work we've already rated him as above a 3.
Yeah.
Not quite a 4, but definitely above meeting expectations.
Yeah.
And he has done a good job with some
Yeah.
very difficult issues,
Yeah.
especially in light of the fact that, it'd be one thing to say, in the last year, he's done so much. As we review all these employees, we're going to find out none of these employees have had a raise in 7 years.
Yeah.
Right? So we've been very diligent and very restrictive on pay adjustments, right? And thanks to Commissioner Limtiaco, I think he has formalized an evaluation process.
This
It's helpful
process
to
is-
us.
yes.
It's just really made a difference. It's
Yes.
very formalized. It's something ratepayers can also review, as we'll make this available. But I found it very easy, much easier to evaluate our team, given the work of Limtiaco, the process we use, the rating, and now we have the full complement of information, where they stand relative to the rest of their team. And I think we'll find all of management is above the 25%. I could be wrong, but I know most of them are
Yes.
above the 25%.
All are from
but-
management.
I mean, I think all of us that have done business on Guam realize it's not easy to find talent and to attract them and retain them. And Mr. Botha has been with us now for 17, 18 years now.
Yeah.
So I'm comfortable with the 3%.
Yeah, we're at
For
the 20.
GPA.
For GPA. Now you have to understand, remember, Simon, when we had, and I don't think our 2 newer commissioners were here. Remember, they did a graph once that showed the line going up to the 50th percentile? And a lot of employees are above the 25. And
Some are below.
some are below. But as a unit now, we've all reached the 20th. Nobody's below that anymore. But some are above, not just these people.
And,
Okay.
To me, now that as we continue to improve this process, this is
Yeah.
the second year in a row with a very good template and all that. It's one thing to look at someone's pay 7 years later
Yes.
versus every year. So some of this increase to me that I'm proposing is to, the fact that Mr. Botha has done a very good job for us. He's been with us the longest.
Well, except for John D.
Except for Mr. Benedetti. He's been with us the longest.
Yes.
And has served us well. And as we did his review, he did get us through a number of very difficult DIAC evaluations, the consent decree with GPA that he has to help negotiate with Mr. Beneventi. And so I believe he merits an adjustment, particularly when you look at his work over 7 years at still the same pay. So that's why I was quite comfortable with the 3%.
Okay. Any further discussion?
Are there any, any input on, on the scale, 2, 3, 4%, or?
Well, I'll be honest with you. I would be fine with 4% increase, but whatever the commissioners wish. I think it's important that we do acknowledge their worth, but I would be happy with a 4%, but there's a motion on the floor. If somebody wants to change it,
Vote it down, then we can
or
revisit
vote it
it.
down and we can revisit it. But, I'm just saying.
That's fair.
And I go along the line, Simon, of your thought that he hasn't had an increase since 2016, and therefore maybe a 4% acknowledges that. And so,
And at least under the proposed 3%, just for the record, it's a $4,000 raise from $135,000 to $139,000.
right,
So the magnitude of the increase is 3% under the proposed motion.
Right,
And in dollars, that amounts to only a $4,000 raise 7 years later.
and if you went to the 4%, the increase is just a few $100s more.
5,000.
Yeah,
It's 5,000.
yeah,
Just another 1,000 more,
Yeah.
basically.
so, so,
Okay. Well,
I would just throw that
what's the-
out
No, I agree with you. I agree with
to
you.
the
I mean, I picked the
commission.
number, and it's just for our debate.
so,
Can I ask this?
sure.
So in other words, the way we're going to do this increases is on the individual basis, and whether it's 2, 3, or 4.
Yes.
Or, well, you can propose any number. The
You can-
chairman just gave us a
I
range.
understand. So is there an option here where we can just say, well, since I'm looking at the weighted averages here, and it seems like, which is good, because the management stays in a strong.
Yeah, they're good
performance.
managers, yeah.
And maybe consider, instead of saying so-and-so will get 2 or 3 or 4, what is just, we come out and say they just make it a 4% increase or 3% increase to everyone, and we move on for consideration.
That's,
I mean, those are options.
Those
I mean,
are options.
At this point, we've just put a motion for 3. We can vote it down and consider alternatives, the 4%. Your alternative to just, pick a number. So
Yeah,
why don't we just act on this motion? I mean, if we don't
okay.
agree,
The
then.
the only thing, I certainly understand your comment, Commissioner, but for me, I think we have to deal with each one of them individually, because, for example, we have, the other attorney is fairly new in hiring. So, that may be a little different circumstance, whereas Mr. Botha hasn't had an increase in 6 years? John Ray, 6 years? And, our other attorney is fairly new. She's only been with us for a year or 2 years. So, that may figure into it. Unless you want,
No, it's just that I feel maybe that some consideration will be given, that we come out with just a rate increase for our management, and this is what we're looking at.
okay.
And I feel comfortable with maybe just saying, let's give whatever the number is, 2, 3, or 4, to every one of the management, whether you've been here for 16 years or you've been here for that.
Okay. Because the talent, you're acknowledging the talent.
Yes.
Okay.
And
okay, got
that
it.
talent is very forceful, very strong right now.
Okay.
And so-
And they are fairly in the same region. Okay.
And as we go on for the next evaluation next year or something, maybe another formula could be developed.
Yeah.
We can do it where,
We'll look at it again.
look at it again
Okay.
and move on.
Okay, so procedurally, we have a motion on the floor that's been duly seconded. We're discussing it. If we're finished discussing, we can vote on the motion and see where we are. How about we do that? Or further discussion?
No further discussion, other than that I do believe that, considering the extent at which Graham hasn't received a raise, that I think 4% is more in line with that. So I don't know, administratively, how would we handle that? Do we vote on the 3% and then repropose a different one, or can we just modify the?
I think we can just amend the
amend
motion.
motion?
So you could make an amendment to the motion?
Okay, so, Mr. Chair, make a motion to amend the prior motion from looking at a 3% raise to a 4% raise.
Okay, there's an amendment. Second?
I'll second that, and then we go into discussion.
Yes.
Is there, can I, on this particular motion, do we vote and agree with that, and then can I make another motion?
You can make another motion after that.
Once we dispose of this, you
Once you
can
dispose of
propose
this.
anything.
Okay, so there's been an amendment to the motion by Commissioner Timchaco, seconded by Commissioner Martinez. And so now, is there any more discussion on the amendment? We need to deal with that. Yeah,
Just
Commissioner.
for the record, a 4% would be 140,400.
Yes.
The 3% would be 139,050. So the 4% is just an additional
About 1,000. 900 something.
$1,350
Yes.
per year.
Yeah,
Again, for the record and the math.
Sure.
Okay.
Okay.
So the motion
So-
before us is a 4%.
4%,
adjustment, right? Okay.
as amended.
Yes.
So if there's no further discussion? No further discussion? Okay. On the amendment, all those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Motion carries with, the amendment is passed with the floor. Now on the main motion, all those in favor, the main motion as amended,
Oh,
Is there any discussion?
any discussion? None?
and then amended motion is now for 4%.
Yes, we've approved the amendment, so now we just have to vote on the motion, as amended. Okay, if there's no further discussion on the motion as amended, all those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed with 4 aye votes. The motion is adopted.
Okay.
Okay?
Graham Butler gets a 4% rate.
Okay. So, John, you're keeping track, right?
And just,
Okay.
again, for the record, Grant, Mr. Bota gets a 4% raise from 135,000 to 140,400. Oh, also, colleagues, takes effect January 1.
Well, we have a choice.
I make a
We-
motion that it takes effect January 1 for discussion purposes.
Okay.
And then let's just-
Usually, let me ask our two HR, you let it take effect on a specific payroll period, like the next pay period or payroll period? Or, because if you do January 1, then you might have payroll periods in between, right?
As long as it starts before.
Okay,
So that would be the
So-
9th or the 2nd, right? Because Monday's the 9th?
yeah. So when in January, when is your beginning of your pay period?
Mr. Chairman, if we just do it on a Monday. as
Why
I'm
don't we-
suggesting,
why
They can bifurcate, if it's in the middle of a pay period, they can say for the first week you're paid X and for the second week you're paid.
Oh, why don't we just say that the pay takes effect, the effective date is that first full payroll period
First
after,
Monday of the first full
the
pay
first
period.
full pay period after January 1st. How about that?
Mr. Chairman, I'd like to amend my motion.
No, just make a new motion.
Okay, make a new motion then that the pay raise for Mr. Bota and any employee that is given a pay raise, if they're given a pay raise today, right, shall take effect on the Monday of the first full payroll period in
After January.
2023,
Yeah, okay.
after January 1st.
Okay,
And you guys know what that is? Yeah? That's a Monday.
okay.
We can do it on the Monday. And then
That's for both of you.
Sunday through Saturday or Monday through? Okay, so the pay raise would have to take effect on that Sunday.
Yeah, but they don't earn money that day. They're not working, so that's what she
They can
said.
calculate.
They'll take care of it.
But, I mean, to complete a full pay period, we want it to start on a Sunday, correct?
Right.
And that Sunday would be January 1st.
Yeah,
That makes it easy.
perfect.
Okay.
Okay, how's that? So
Do you need a
that,
motion, Mr.
no, that's your motion.
Okay,
You
so I
just-
move, Mr. Chairman, that any
For-
pay adjustment that is, any pay
Have to-
adjustment or decrease that is approved today
Yeah.
shall take effect on January 1st, 2023.
Okay.
The beginning of the first payroll period in the new year.
Got it? Okay. Is there a second, Commissioner?
Second.
Second, Commissioner Demchalco? Okay. Any further discussion on that motion? None? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye, opposed, nay. Motion carries with 4 aye votes.
Okay.
Okay, now,
Now we do Teresa.
We'll go to Teresa.
sure, we'll go to thrust. Okay, Teresa is on her rating. Michael, for the record.
Mr. Chair, legal counsel for Guam Water Works Authority, Teresa Rojas, rated a 3.66, which on the same exact scale that Graham Botha was rated, a 5 being significantly exceeds expectations. She has, and a 1 meaning fails to meet expectations. Teresa Rojas rated a 3.66, which is above meets expectations or exceeds expectations.
Okay, and for the record, she came on board in September 13th, 2021.
2 years. And our
Okay.
current pay, Mr. Chair?
And her current pay, Zita?
One is
Is-
125,620.
Yeah,
Am I doing that right? Okay, okay. So she's been with us 2 years, and she's currently making 125,600.
okay. Now, Commissioner Martinez, did you want to make another motion?
Yes, I would like to ask the commissioners to consider. I'd like to make a motion that we set for this particular evaluation and pay raises that we take a percentage that we can apply to all the management that we're evaluating.
Okay.
And the reason for that is just looking at the weighted rates that Mike has prepared, that coming from our evaluation, that they are within the numbers really that supports the the effort to make GPA and Warm Water Works function by their performance in the evaluation. And so I'd like to make a motion that we consider a 4% pay raise for the remainder of
The other three?
the other three. I'm
Yeah,
sorry.
the remaining.
Yes, you're right.
So the other three that we've already evaluated.
Yes, for the other three that we have evaluated. Do you want me to say the name for those other three? Or?
Sure. Sure.
Well,
Well, why don't we dispose of the 4% first? Because if it fails, then you don't need to do the names, right? 'Cause then
Okay.
you're going to just do them.
Is there a second to the motion?
Is there a second? Yeah.
Is there a second to the motion? Motion fails.
And just to voice my opinion on the motion, Commissioner Martinez, some of the employees here have been with the utilities for less amount of time, and so we went through the effort of evaluating each of them individually. I would prefer personally as a commissioner to score them and their potential pay increases individually as well.
Yeah. And it may work out to be the same amount.
It could be work out to where everybody gets the same.
Same amount, but I think I agree. But thank you. That was a good thought.
Yeah.
No.
I mean, it's consistent with our review.
It's consistent with our
team is
review.
doing an excellent job.
Yes,
He's
okay.
just trying to simplify
Yeah.
this process, which I appreciate. Yeah.
I appreciate that. So now, when it comes to our attorney for Waterworks, Ms. Teresa Rojas, is there a motion for any pay adjustment?
Just a couple of questions. though.
Sure.
Just so now with the from a market percentile rating, right now they're both in the same
Where's Teresa?
range.
Where's Teresa's
Zena?
current pay? Oh, she's in the 45th to 50th percentile, right?
think 40.
Teresa is between the 40th and 45th, but she's actually, her rate is on the mid-side of the 40th. So the implementation range for the 40th is 122,781. That's on the low side where we're starting. And then the high is, or the max is 127,767. So she's currently at 125,620.
So, Mr. Chairman, I propose a 2% pay adjustment for Teresa. She's our newest employee. She's done a great job. As HR has just reported to us, that would move her to the high end of the 45th percent.
2% would do what,
If we
Zena?
gave her a 2%, it'd be that 767 that you provided us, Mr. Chairman.
Yeah.
And it would take her to the high end of the
40th, right?
40th, of the 40th to 45th percentile, right?
No,
And-
40th to 45th? Zena?
Yes.
Okay.
And the rest of the company's at the 25th percentile.
Yeah.
So
Well,
she still merits a
20th.
raise, in my
Yeah.
view, because she's done
Yeah.
an excellent job, especially
Yes.
picking up, her predecessor had been with us a long time, and she had a lot to absorb, and I think she's done a great job. But she's also our newest employee, and this would move her to the high end of the 45th percentile in terms of the industry average pay for the attorney. But she would be paid at the 45th, the rest of the company's at the 25th.
Yeah.
So it's kind of a balancing act. To me, if we moved her to 4, she would go past the 45th, she'd be closer to the 50th, and the rest of the company's only at 25, and she's been with us 2 years, and the rest of the company's been with us a long time.
Okay.
Right, so I think she merits an adjustment, and
So-
that's why I propose 2%, Mr.
You're
Chairman.
making a motion, right? That's a
Yes,
motion?
sir. That
Okay.
her pay be increased 2% to 127,767 from 125,620, which is about a $2,147 raise
Yeah.
per year.
Okay. Is there a second to that motion?
I'll second the motion.
Second? Okay. Now, do we have any further discussion? By the way, the same things apply here. The pay for our people come from the budget for, unlike GPA, they don't have a base rate and a LEAC. They just have a simple budget, right? It's just an
Just comes out-
operating budget.
Comes out of the rate.
Comes out of the rates. And this would not affect the rates at all.
None of the
them
pay
will-
raises are gonna, you're looking at pay raises of 5,000, 3,000 for 6 people.
Yeah.
Both companies are $500 million of annual revenue, depending on the LEAC.
Yeah.
This has no impact on
Okay,
rates.
so
This is more
Any
about
further
retaining
talent.
employees that are doing a good job, rewarding
And
them for that
acknowledging.
work, acknowledging that work. We've gone through the process of review, which is very detailed. She also excelled in her review. She was a 3.66,
3.66, yes.
equivalent to Mr. Bota, who's been with us for a long time. So that's why I was comfortable proposing an adjustment, not as large as Mr. Bota's, because he hadn't had a raise in 7
That's
years.
that's
She
longer.
just joined us 2 years ago, and
Right.
yet she's getting it. So unlike her peers, she'll be getting a pay raise within 2 years of employment.
Yeah.
The rest of her colleagues that won't have had a pay raise for 7 years. So, that factors into the percentage I might consider for an employee. Just when was your last raise compared to when was this other colleague's last raise? Some have waited 7 years. This proposal would still give her a raise, but it would be a raise in 2 years after joining us, while the rest of the folks we evaluate haven't had a pay raise for 7 years. So that's why, I was more comfortable with the individual review than just a blanket percentage, right? So that's why I proposed 2%, Mr. Chairman.
Okay,
And it's a $2,100 a year raise.
okay. Any further discussion? No? Okay, on the motion to increase the salary of our general counsel from Guam Water Works, from the current pay of, oh wait, where am I? Of 127,767.
That would be her new pay, Mr.
125.
I mean,
620.
125,620 rather, to 127,767, a 2% increase. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye, opposed nay, motion carries. Okay.
Congratulations to both our councils. They've done a good job.
Congratulations to both our consuls. You did a good job. Okay, now, who are we going to? Mike?
Mr. Chair, we'll now go to the CFOs for each of the utilities. And we'll
which-
start off with the Chief Financial Officer for Guam Power Authority, Mr. John Kim.
Okay,
John rated highly with a 3.77 total score.
okay.
And once again, for the audience that is listening, a score of 5 is significantly exceeds expectations. A score of 4 is exceeds expectations, and a score of 3 is meets expectations. So John has rated above meets expectations in the area of exceeds expectations at a score of 3.77.
Okay. Now, John has been with us since October 19th, 2015.
2015?
Yeah.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
And if I recall, Mr. Chair, during our last review, we,
Did give
I
him-
believe John was the only one that received a pay increase.
Yes, he was.
Of all of the individuals we evaluated.
And that was just to move him to the corporate percentage.
Well,
of
yeah,
21%.
we moved him to the 20th
So he's not
percentile.
even-
He's
GPA 20 or 25?
20th.
Okay,
So
so
he,
we moved him up to
up to
where
the 20th,
everyone
because
else
he was down, I think, below 10, 5th percentile. So, last time.
Would you know if we did a 2 or a 4, what percentile, would that move him out of his current percentile? Sure. Just the 2 or the 4, right?
So he's at 141, and with the 2%, he'll be at 144. John Kim, 144 would be within the range of the 20th and 25th. With the 4%, he'll be at 147, and he'll be at the upper range of the 30th, between the 25th and the 30th.
Thank you.
Okay?
And just real
John-
quick,
John,
what was the percentage increase in his raise the prior year?
Sure. So he
From
was-
what salary to current?
Got it. So he was at 135,000.
Mm-hmm.
And again, that was between the 10th and the 15th of the 2017 market data. So 135 to 141,919.
So what's that, roughly a 5%?
That's roughly
4%? 5,000 over 140 or 130? Something like 4 times 130 is 5.2. It's like a 4%.
Yeah.
Yeah. Also, Mr. Chairman, what I recall for the record too was when we didn't do the pay adjustment the last time correctly, one of the things we recognized from Mr. Kim was the transition on the credit card.
Yes.
Being able to eliminate the 3% service charge for
Yeah.
both our utilities, which even GovGuam to this day hasn't
Still
done.
doesn't.
but we made it much easier for our ratepayers and our utility.
And also
to-
our
to
corporate
pay
co-
and receive the money.
And our corporate customers are also paying off credit cards.
Right, right.
Yeah,
So
those-
it's made it much easier for everyone to pay their power bill, and he saved us money by
that's-
eliminating that 3%.
And that's why last year we actually did move him, but, he's very valuable. Yes, Commissioner Chapo.
I know recently GPA stopped accepting Visa, right? Now they only accept MasterCard. Do we know if that was an attempt to reduce fees as well?
That's a good question.
I think that was it. I think, do you want to call John Kim? You want to call John Kim? Let's just ask him.
Just a quick question here. So prior to the 141, what's the reason? When we,
135.
135.
So it was, I think it's,
135.
yeah, more than 4%
Yeah,
from the
it's-
prior year.
Yeah, it's actually, you're right, it's about 4.5, 4.8.
Yeah.
But that was done in what year?
Last year.
That was last year.
Last year.
That was
He-
just-
John was the only one that received the pay increase from last year.
Yeah. Simply because he was so far out of whack.
Yeah.
I mean,
Right.
it was an attempt to get him to the 20th percentile.
And what was the, I believe it was John who was also pushing for the bond refinancing that we've recently,
Yes.
I think,
Yeah.
we got the legislature to approve, and I know if we acted timely, or I should say if the legislature acted timely, that savings would have been significantly more, but
Yeah.
were still able
We were still
to
able to make some savings.
refinance and save,
$10 million.
$10 million, yeah. So John is doing a really good job.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's worth it.
He's worth what? 2, 3, or 4?
Well,
There's no
we gave
motion
him-
on the floor yet.
Yeah,
There's no motion
yeah.
on the floor.
I think,
That's why I asked that question.
yeah, I think I seconded the
Make a motion
motion.
that he's worth it.
Congratulations.
It's a boy.
We'll give him-
It's a
here's the
boy.
certificate.
it's a baby.
It's a baby. It's a
boy or
boy.
girl, but it's a baby. Yeah.
Okay, so
Do you have a
seriously, okay, there's no motion on the floor. Anybody can make a
We
motion.
need a number.
We need motions to adjust his pay
And his last adjustment was just last year.
just
right?
last year.
But that was.
But not just to get him to the 20th.
Okay.
So,
What do you want to do? When you were talking about what a great job he was doing,
Yeah.
I was curious what your next sentence was.
John?
wait.
Oh.
Yes.
Wait.
did
This is critical
recently,
answer.
did we move,
Did we
Go
stop
ahead.
accepting Visa? Now we only accept MasterCard?
So we accept Visa and MasterCard, but for businesses, we stop accepting Visa temporarily. Part because it's for online payments, we haven't moved to First Bank yet. So their system, they're moving from
Yeah, they
the
have a
old
new
system to move First Data. So once we move,
oh, this is a
Oh,
temporary
so
thing.
it's temporary.
Oh,
This
it's
is just a temporary
So
thing.
do the customers know that? Because I know we were impacted, and that wasn't
we
the,
send out a notice.
that it was temporary? Or that you don't accept
Yeah.
Visa anymore?
Okay.
Yeah, we just send a notice that we don't accept Visa
Currently.
Visa for now, but eventually we will be accepting Visa.
Okay,
When do you
John,
think that's going to get resolved?
Hopefully by January. Because they said they're moving the system in January, but they said they'll be testing in January.
Okay.
John, remind us again, what did the initiative that you, regarding the credit card, what did it end up saving the utility? Or I should
Yes,
say,
yeah,
is it the utility or the ratepayer?
It,
Well, I guess it's one and the same because we were passing it through, right?
Correct.
yes. Before we GPA used to charge $2.50, and they retracted that. So ever since then, they kind of blocked payments of credit cards for all businesses. But when we moved to MasterCard, when we moved to utility rate, which we get 75 cents flat fee for residential,
transaction.
and for commercial is $1.50 flat rate.
What's the flat rate?
yeah, no matter how much the amount.
Instead of a percentage.
Instead
Yes.
of a percentage.
So historically, the GP used to pay close to 3%, with the new utility rate on average was close to 1.1%.
Mm-hmm.
So that's full 1% of
Almost 2% actually.
yes.
And from a dollar figure, what would that translate into?
So
Roughly.
maybe
In terms of savings from 3 to 1.
Oh yeah. Over $1 million a year. Yes.
Which is savings actually for the ratepayer, right?
Oh, yeah, yes, because that's the reason why we don't increase the base rate. Yeah, we find ways to cut costs. So a lot of things we did was try to cut costs on like merchant fees, like costs and property insurances. And property insurance is probably the biggest expense for GPA. So that's
Outside
what
of oil.
yes, outside of oil. Yes, outside of oil.
And then the final close on the bond refinancing, what was the net savings on that?
Oh, I think believe us close to $7 million. Originally it was 15,
Yeah.
but the
delay.
passage of the law was kind of delayed, so the savings got much lower.
But it's
7
still
million?
$5, $7 million bucks. something like that.
Yeah,
A year?
net
Net present
Net present value,
value.
I'm sorry.
But from annual base cash savings for like the next 10 years is about $10 million.
Yeah, that's what I remember.
Yes.
The cash savings.
And that's the whole purpose of that, so that we could make sure we don't have
Raise rates.
significant or any base rate
Yeah.
Yep.
increase.
Okay,
Okay.
all right, thanks.
Thank you.
All right, thank you.
Thank you, John.
Thanks, John.
Thank you, John.
Okay, so, Commissioner Chaco, did that answer your questions?
That answers my question. And so with that, Mr. Chair, I'd like to make a motion for the commission to consider a 2% raise for John Kim.
Okay. That would move him from 141,919, which he's currently making, to 144,757.
That's correct. And so the net impact would be a 7% raise over the course of, since John was hired, right? So, or
No, since last year.
since, no,
Oh,
Yeah, since
con-
it's
oh,
hard,
to compare,
2015.
yeah, I'm
so,
sorry.
so since 2015 to current, so over the 7 years, he would basically result in a roughly 6.8% increase over those last 7 years.
Yeah.
Okay, and you're proposing 2 then, right?
2%.
Okay.
So there's a motion on the floor. There's no
Is there
second.
a second? Okay, there's no second, motion dies.
Motion dies.
Mr. Chair, I propose a 3% adjustment. I
Okay.
I'm totally agreeing with Commissioner Limtiako's just overall assessment of John. I think he's done a great job, and to me, it was just the difference of whether a 2 or a 3. And I appreciate that he also brought up the fact that he had one interim pay adjustment, but that kind of just brought him up to where everybody else was. So this is to kind of reward him that, since we've rated him, that he's done above expectations. This is just a slightly higher increase than Commissioner Limtiako is. So we both agree that he merits an adjustment.
Yeah,
I was
in
just,
terms of money, it's another,
it'd be another 5,000.
no, it's another 3,000 some.
Over the 2%?
From the 2%.
Oh, yeah, from the 2%.
From the 2%, you know. That's the difference. We know we're going to give him something, so.
Yeah, it's a $1,400
Increase,
A
right?
3% is a $1,400 higher increase than a 2%.
So,
I
So
second
the only
motion.
difference of opinion between Commissioner Limtiako and I is $1,400.
okay, so.
I second the motion.
Second the motion? Any further discussion on the motion? No? We're ready for the question? All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye,
Aye.
opposed, nay, motion carries.
So his new
For
pay is
an-
146,177, Mr. Chairman? Is that
That would be correct.
Okay, it's a $4,200 increase
Okay,
from his current pay.
and
But
now,
he did a great job.
yes. And now we are
So
at,
now we're at the Chief Financial Officer for the Guam Water Works Authority,
Yes.
Taling Taitano.
uh-huh.
Taling rated highly on her evaluation with a 3.95 score. Once again, a score of 5 is significantly exceeds expectations. A score of 4 is exceeds expectations, and a score of 3 meets expectations. So with the score of 3.95, Taling has exceeded expectations on her evaluation.
Okay,
And, Mr. Chairman, can you give us a basic bio of her last adjustment?
okay, Taling started with us in September 30th of 2019, and I don't think we've increased her pay at all since
What- Okay.
September
So her
30th.
current pay of
Her current pay is,
137,745 has not changed since she was hired in 2019?
that's correct.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Chairman. And what industry percentile does that take her? Is she in now?
the 20th to the 25th. Her salary right now at 137,745 is the middle of the 20th market percentile implementation range.
Yeah.
And at 4%, what would bring that up?
So with her 4%, she'll be
143,339, that,
40.
and,
Will be in the middle of the 30th market percentile
really?
implementation.
Wow. Okay.
30th?
And our company's at 25? Where's our
Our
company?
company's at 20.
20, okay.
That's the line where we kind of adjust it, Simon, but there are a few below. Most of them are already above it, just so that you,
Yeah, no, I understand.
yeah.
So what was
Commissioner
that, 30? Or what's
The
the,
30th market,
If she's given
she'll
that.
be in between the, if we consider the 4%, which would be 143,339, it'll be in the middle of the implementation range of the 30 market percentile.
Yeah. You want to make a motion? Peter, right? No. Okay.
Mr. Chairman, Tolling has done an excellent job. She was the highest rated of all of our line employees, and she, to me, she's really supplemented the financial reviews that we get. She puts in narratives, and she's done a good job. And so I propose a 4% adjustment for Tolling to $143,339. That would be roughly a $5,600 a year increase, and her last pay raise was 4 years ago, correct?
Well, she hasn't changed.
Right, so she started with us in 2019. 4% is 4 years later, right? Did I do that right?
I don't think it's 4 full years. I think
It's
just
3.5,
over 3.
3.5.
Yeah.
But she hasn't had a pay raise.
three and a quarter.
Even the minimum wage went up in the last 3.5
Okay.
years. So
Okay.
I propose a 4% adjustment
Okay.
for Tolling.
Second by Commissioner Nimchako.
By Commissioner Martinez.
I looked at him, but I said your name. But I looked at him.
That's because he's the youngest, we're just picking
Yeah.
on him. We're gonna blame him for everything.
No, you're the youngest. You're the baby. We love you. Gotta love you.
Dog.
Huh?
He's the
That's-
10th dog.
No, we want to make him feel special, because you are. Okay, so that's the motion on the floor. Any further discussion? No? Ready for the question? All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye, opposed nay. Motion carries with 4 aye votes. Okay, you folks took record of all of that? You guys are good, right? Because you're the ones who have to do that part. I'll sign off on it, but you do it. Okay, Commissioners, we're now still in our open meeting, and at this point, Commissioner Limchalco, we're going to move on to the general managers now.
Sure. So, Mr. Chair, I'd like to request the Commission's approval on recusing myself from the general managers for GPA and GWA. As it's known, my wife works for the utility, so I'd prefer that the remaining commissioners evaluate John Beneventi, and Miguel Bordallo is my cousin, so I'd like to also
First cousin,
request
yeah.
approval to recuse myself from that evaluation as well.
Yes, without objection? No objection.
Declaring
And thank
a
you
valid
very much.
conflict, he's declaring a valid conflict.
Yeah, thank you very much.
I also thank Michael for getting us all the way here.
You're welcome.
Nice.
Thank you very much,
He
Michael.
just chose his relative so that he didn't have to do this for part of the review.
I'd really like to evaluate the GMs. I think that, having that opportunity to evaluate them would be great, but I understand the conflict and I'll respect that.
Yeah, and you've consistently held that same position.
Yep.
And then I appreciate that. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Okay.
You'll be here for the
You
meeting
want-
tonight?
Yes.
Oh, yeah. Well, we're going to try and get through this meeting with the 2.
Then we have tonight's meeting. Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
Call John. John B. He's up first.
Thank you, Mike.
Thank you, Michael.
Yeah, how about a 5-minute break?
Okay.
Okay.
5 minutes, Mr.
Huh?
Chairman? We'll move to recess for 5
Yeah,
minutes, is that okay?
move to recess 5 minutes. Second? Okay. Thank you very much, Michael.
Thanks.
I appreciate it. What?
Could you please just, we're going to send them both the spreadsheet evaluation.
Testing. We're also on air, right? You can see us? No, but can they see us?
And this is required by law, right, Mr. Chairman?
Yes.
We're doing this full evaluation
Right.
in open.
We are back in, after a short recess, and this is the same meeting that we started on November 14th. It's a special meeting to consider an evaluation of our top management employees. We've completed the evaluation and the pay adjustments for 4 of our employees. We now have the general manager of GPA, and we will follow that up with the general manager of GWA. So, John, thank you very much for sitting down with us today, and we'll let you do your presentation.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. First of all, I would like to take note on my November 29 memo,
Okay.
summarizing as it relates to the evaluation. So I've attached for your perusal the FY 2022 evaluation form, FY 2021 evaluation results,
Okay.
PowerPoint presentation on GPA's progress towards reliable, resilient, and affordable energy on a sustainable basis. I like to say on a sustainable basis.
Okay.
And then 4, a summary of key accomplishments specifically in FY 2022.
Okay.
The PowerPoint summarizes our concerted and strategic effort towards clean air and affordable energy for our community and ratepayers. I have done numerous presentations to all the local community, local government, business and military community, emphasizing our clean and affordable energy plan is well on its way to be substantially achieved in 2024. The summary of the key accomplishments itemized those specifically achieved in FY 2022 include refinancing of the 2012 bonds. Recall to be able to get as part of the plan to refinance the bond so that when the new power plant comes on the line, we could afford to pay for the machine, no?
Yeah.
Signing without raising the base rate. We're trying to, that's our motto, is to try and keep it at that, no?
Okay.
Signing up of the military to another 10-year utility service agreement. That in itself connotates really that the military is happy with our reliability. Maybe not as happy with all the costs, but certainly from what I've experienced, it's really, we are cheaper in production of energy as I've done in the past, no? So again, that's a huge accomplishment for the next 10 years. And of course, I see that as beyond. Commissioning of KEPCO's Mangilao Solar Farm, saving about $3 million per month for ratepayers.
On the LEAC.
On the LEAC. All that savings goes directly to the LEAC, directly to the customer, and is keeping the rates lower than what it could be, as was said by the PUC.
That's a good point to make, because without those savings, their rate would be higher.
The LEAC would be higher.
That's correct, Mr. Chair. Very, and of course, you can understand there were issues with the construction that we had to try to work out, and then we had to make different arrangements with them so that we can facilitate them, again, getting their construction funding money back and be able to complete this as soon as possible, which we were all able to do by June of last year. So again, that's saving us at today's rate about $3 million a month, no? Continued compliance with US EPA consent decree, more specifically the complete conversion of PD 8 and 9 to ultra-low sulfur diesel. Major checkpoint in the consent decree, done and compliant. Before July 31st, we shut down the second machine so that after July 31st of this year, PD power plant did not burn any RFO. So we're complying with the US EPA consent decree. And then the burning out of all non-compliant RFO fuel to now only 0.2% sulfur, low sulfur RFO. If you recall, we've had to go from 3 types of fuel to 5 types of fuel, then down to so and so, all of it requiring tremendous amount of challenges in redirecting fuel through all different things to make this happen. And so that has been done by our team, no? And so right now we are burning 0.2% sulfur, and we will meet the December 31st deadline for meeting that for meeting US EPA consent decree. Specific to that, there is a public hearing this afternoon